Good morning, Chicago Cubs fans. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. It is the beginning of award season, and the Cubs have some gold glovers. We're going to go over a couple of free agent players that have opted out of their contracts and will be free agents. But before we get into all that, just want to give everyone a big thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. You guys are the absolute best. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. I'm officially dubbing it. So again, if you guys are enjoying the content, please continue to hit that thumbs up button. Comment your thoughts down below, whether you agree or disagree with me. I am happy to hear all about it. So let's hop right into today's festivities, shall we? The Cubs officially have 3 Gold Glove winners: Ian Happ, Nico Hoerner, and Pete Crow Armstrong. Ian Happ has won the award multiple times in his career. Nico Hoerner has also won it before as well. Pete Crow Armstrong, this is the first of many. You guys can head on over to Cubs.com and officially vote on all 3 players to go out and win the Platinum Award if you would like. So I think Pete Crow Armstrong is going to have many Platinum Award winning seasons for the rest of his career, whether it be in Chicago or wherever he plays. But just want to bring out that this is the main staple, right? Like this defense is what really helped this Cubs team get to 92 wins, right? Especially with the ups and downs with the pitching staff in terms of injuries, inconsistencies, right? Because over the course of 162 games, you're just not going to be great in every single game. There's just, there's no way to put it on that front. The offense obviously staggered in the second half of the season, but this defense kept the Cubs in a lot of ball games, obviously paired with Wrigley Field as well. But Wrigley Field, as we know as fans and general baseball knowledge people, it plays tricks on the defenders. We've seen Pete Crow Armstrong lose a ball or two out there, but Pete Crow Armstrong also had the lowest percentage catch rate in baseball this year. His plays out in the outfield were absolutely incredible. Ian Happ, a steady, consistent defender in left field. And Nico Hoerner definitely made a game-saving snag or 2 at second base. So I'm up for Nico and Pete to get the platinum. If you guys want to go vote for all 3 of them, again, head on over to Cubs.com. Now, back to the regularly scheduled programming we have been discussing here on Cubs Daily, and that is how to improve the 2026 roster. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're all understanding. Odds are the Cubs are not going to spend money. We know the lockout's looming. We know that they don't want to commit to a lot of money. Whether you want to call the Ricketts cheap, please stop calling Jed Hoyer cheap. It is not his money to spend, but we have to remain diligent of what's going to be happening. The Cubs are still going to marginally get better. Now, there are creative ways to get better, right? Trading for players on a 1-year deal, like a Kyle Tucker we did last year. I know, you guys think that we lost that deal with Cam Smith and Hayden Wesneski and Isaac Paredes. I'm telling you, we were much better off this season with having Kyle Tucker. Now, he might not come back, but hopefully there's some room for negotiation with him, and maybe he'll come back. But I'm not banking on that either. How can the Cubs get better? That's the real question, right? It depends on your philosophy as a fan, but the bullpen, is that an option? A couple of big-time relievers have opted out of their deals. Let's start with Robert Suarez. He was a member of the Padres bullpen. The Padres were a really peculiar team this year because Robert Suarez led the league in saves. He had 40 saves this season. And then they went and traded for Mason Miller, who is the best closer in baseball, in my opinion. One of the most dominating pitchers I have ever seen in my lifetime. And Robert Suarez was reduced to a hold role in the 8th or 7th inning, depending on where the team was in that game. He had a great season, 2.97 ERA, a whip below 1, kind of .9, I believe. So again, is he a good addition for a bullpen? Absolutely. The Cubs should absolutely kick the tires on what he could potentially provide this team. Now, again, when you're dealing with relievers, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of you guys have kept up on reliever contracts. There's just not a lot of 4 or 5 year deals with relievers, plain and simple, because it's so year to year with everything going on, right? But Robert Suarez, in his brief career, has been one of the more consistent, I would say, consistent pitchers in baseball. Sometimes they do take time to get their footing, but either way, he's found his footing. And, he's got a 2.91 career ERA, really, really solid. He is a little bit older. He's 34, so I don't know how much of a long-term deal he will be looking for, but he's been very good. And last year, he saved 40 baseball games in 69 innings and a .9 whip. He's had a really good career. And if the Cubs would love to kick the tires on him on a one-year deal, I'm absolutely A-okay with him coming here and pairing him with Danny Palencia. Now, the question would be, what entices Suarez more? I think Suarez wants to be a closer. The Cubs probably want Palencia to be the closer. But I'm okay with whoever closes, as long as someone can shut the door in the 9th inning, because that was a little bit of a roller coaster spot for this team last year. Now, another reliever that could be kicked into the mix here, Edwin Diaz. He opted out of the last 2 years of his deal with the Mets, and he had that special season a couple years ago where he was 9th in the Cy Young award-winning, race. He saved 32 games. It was in 2018 for Seattle. He saved 57 games. He was hurt in 2023, but last year he returned to all-star form with the Mets, a 1.63 ERA. He was really, really good. So hopefully maybe he can return to stabilize that form, because again, the Cubs could really use a guy like him as well. .87 whip. This dude was tough stuff. And again, we didn't get to see the Mets in the playoffs because they collapsed at the very end. I don't think the Cubs are going to get both guys. And again, preface this immediately for you. I don't know how many players the Cubs are going to sign. They might re-sign a lot of the guys that they've had on their team already, like Caleb Thielbar, Brad Keller, etc., etc. I don't know how many free agents they're going to be going out and locking into long-term deals. But if Suarez or Diaz are open to a one-year prove-it type deal, then maybe that might be something the Cubs are interested in. The Cubs are interested in very niche things, specifically when in terms of free agent signings, right? They're not interested. I heard it on the radio today. They said, if someone, like, for example, with Kyle Tucker specifically, if there's a team and they're all in on Kyle Tucker, the Cubs are out. The Cubs do not want to compete in the sense of a team wanting to give all that extra stuff to potentially get Kyle Tucker. The Cubs will take Kyle Tucker at the right deal, essentially. And I think the Cubs would do that with any of these free agents. But the problem is there's a lot of other teams that are willing to spend on these guys, and the Cubs just aren't necessarily ready to do that yet. I do think the Cubs will spend if they're gonna win if they think they're gonna be able to win the World Series. Oh, I've said this multiple times here on Cubs Daily. I don't think there was a move to be made last year that would put the Cubs over the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we went out and got Edward Cabrera or Mackenzie Gore, or Joe Ryan even, I do not think that those guys put the Cubs over. Maybe it puts us in the NLCS, but does that help us beat the Dodgers? I don't know. I don't think so. The Dodgers were just so dominant this postseason, and the Blue Jays, the other really good team in baseball, pushed them to 7 games. So the Cubs do need pitching. I'm not denying that. Robert Suarez and Edwin Diaz can both throw hard. That checks a good box for me on that front. And I would be open to either one signing with the Cubs to help stabilize this bullpen in 2026. Now, again, right? We're talking about upgrading positions without trading too much or signing to a long-term deal. Let's revisit on Alex Bregman, okay? Alex Bregman did have a little health stint this season, but again, 3.5 WAR. He was really, really solid. He hit, 273, 18 home runs. And again, we're comparing this to Matt Shaw, who was literally just a rookie this season. So it's kind of tough on that front. Maybe the numbers aren't as overwhelming, right? 3.5 WAR, 3.1 WAR. Matt Shaw had some better numbers on certain fronts. But again, if you want to talk about OPS plus, Matt Shaw was 98. Alex Bregman was 128. I don't know what that would lead to necessarily in terms of wins over losses, but that would be an improvement. And you got to be candid about this. It would be an absolute improvement offensively. Okay, he only had 433 at-bats in a traditional major league. That's about 2/3 of a traditional major league season if you're playing all the games. Bregman would be an absolute upgrade. Even if it was a 1-year, $25-30 million deal, I think that's something the Cubs should consider. I like Matt Shaw. I think he could be the future of this team at third base, but trying to give this team a chance to win in 2026, Alex Bregman is the correct move in that sense. I know Eugenio Suarez is out there as well. And again, we're going to go over all of these names. We're going to be revisiting a lot of the names at the deadline because I think the problem at the deadline was that a lot of these guys, there was two options for pitching, okay? There was either 2 years left of control and that half season, so 2.5 years left of control, or they were free agents in 3 months. There was no pitcher that was available that was going to be this half of a season and then control of next season. So it was kind of a little bit of a quirky thing on that front. And again, right, if the lockout's looming in 2027, why would the Cubs want to trade for Mackenzie Gore, who they would have to trade 2.5 years of control worth of value for maybe only 1.5 years of actual play? So, again, Mackenzie Gore is just an example. Joe Ryan falls under that category as well. We're going to follow all these pitchers and talk about them here on Cubs Daily. So, that is going to do it for today's episode. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back tomorrow in the next one. Peace.